Hi there everybody. In this video I'm going to be showing you how to make a really cool Harry Potter inspired house scarf. Now this is the one that is from the early Harry Potter films where it is chunks of the colours and unfortunately I didn't get to work quite as far on this as I'd hoped for the sake of the tutorial. I had hoped that I would have the full scarf finished, ready to show you, but I was admitted into hospital for a couple of days and so I didn't get to work on this as much as I'd hoped. However, I do hope that the photo from the beginning of this video of the one that I made previously, I just hope that that is enough to give you an idea of what it will look like once it is finished, and that is enough to make you want to make one. So this is as far as I've got for the purpose of the tutorial, but to be fair, it is only a 1-row pattern repeat. It is extremely easy. It is great if you're hoping to do this as a beginner project. But yeah, so we're going to make a Harry Potter inspired house scarf, and obviously these are the beautiful Gryffindor colours which match perfectly with this amazing Gryffindor project bag. The project bag, if you're wondering, is from Siobhan's Crafts, and I will obviously leave a link to it in the description. But let's move on now for the yarn information and the tutorial itself. But if this is your first time visiting the Blossom Crochet channel, then just take a moment now to hit the subscribe button and also the little bell so that you will get notifications of all of my new videos. So I'm going to be using these 2 shades of Shapey's Colour Crafter. Now obviously you can use any yarn brand that you like, but these are just the 2 that I ordered and I think they match the Gryffindor colours perfectly. So you want to start with a slip knot on your hook. Now I'm just using the recommended 4mm hook size for the DK yarn, but if you're using a thicker yarn then obviously just use whatever your yarn recommends. So I personally don't want this scarf to be too thick. I'm going to do quite a narrow scarf, but I'm going to make it really long so that it can wrap around a couple of times just like it does in the film. So I'm actually only going to do a starting chain of 23. So we're going to yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through, and complete your foundation chain. Like I say, I'm doing 23, but you can do this absolutely any width that you like. There is no multiple, just do it as wide as you want it to be. But as I say, I'm doing 23. So I've completed my foundation chain, and now we are simply going to do a row of half treble crochets all the way back along. So remember, this is half treble in the UK, but if you're in the US and other places, then this is your half double crochet. So just bear that in mind. Whenever I say half treble, I mean half double for you. And that is what we're going to use for the entirety of the project. So into the 3rd chain from the hook, so you've got 1, 2, and this is the 3rd, you're going to yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over and pull up, and you'll have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3. I'll show you that again. So in your next stitch, yarn over, insert, yarn over and pull up, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, and you're just going to do that all the way along until you get back to the other end, and that is where I will meet you in just a second. I'm just completing my final few stitches here. So my last one right before my slip knot, and that is the foundation row completed. So as you can see, it's not a massively wide scarf, but you can make it as narrow or as wide as you like. I just, as I say, want mine to be quite narrow but really long so that it can be wrapped around the neck a couple of times. Now to start the next row and every other row going forward, you're going to turn your work and you're going to insert your hook into that very first stitch where your working end is coming up from. Go through the whole of the stitch, making sure to get both loops at the top. Yarn over and pull up, you'll have 2 loops and yarn over, pull through both, and then you can see you've got 2 vertical sections to this stitch. You're going to go behind the one that's closest to your working end, yarn over and pull up again, and yarn over and pull through both, and that just gives us a half treble stitch but without having to do a chain which would leave a gap. So at this point I would very much recommend that you put a stitch marker into this stitch that you've just completed just here, so that you always get perfectly straight edges, so when you work back along on your next row you will know exactly where your final half treble will need to go. So now you're going to do half trebles all the way along, so again yarn over, insert into that next stitch, always go through the whole of the stitch for this project, yarn over and pull up, and yarn over, pull through all 3. So you're going to do that again all the way to the end, and I will meet you there in a second just to firm up that final stitch placement, and then we will move on once again. So I've just worked into the top of that final full treble, half treble, which is here, but I still have this little funny one to work into as well. So these are the chains from the beginning. So you're going to yarn over and always make sure that you catch that final set of stitches from the very first row. So again, now that is how you're looking. So you're going to complete that last row over and over again. I'm going to do 14 rows in this colour, and then I'm going to change. So if you want to carry on doing that now, and I will meet you after 14 rows and I will show you how I'm going to change colour. So I'm just at the end of my 14th row now, and I'm going to change colours. So on my last half treble, which I'm just going to do, I'm going to stop at this point where I've got 3 loops on the hook. I'm going to grab my other colour and I'm going to pull that through all 3 loops. I'm going to chain 1, but that's never going to count as an actual stitch. I'm going to snip off my claret colour, and then the 2 ends here, I'm literally just going to knot them together. Now that is just a personal choice for the way that I like to change colours. I'm now going to turn my work and insert my hook into that first stitch as normal and complete that stitch, and then I'm ready to half treble all the way across as normal. So that will give you nice clean colour changes and maintain your nice straight edges as well. So obviously you'll be able to weave your tails in afterwards, so you'll get a nice neat finish. But that is it for the pattern part. As I say, I'm going to do 14 rows of each colour, repeat, and then I'm going to keep doing that until my scarf is as long as I want it to be. Once it is complete, I will leave the dimensions for the length that I did in the description box, but obviously just do it as long as you want it to be. I will also leave a link below for the fringe / tassel tutorial which was done on this scarf, and that will just give a really good finish to your Harry Potter inspired scarf. So I really hope that you've enjoyed this quick and simple scarf tutorial, and I look forward to seeing you again soon for another one. Bye for now.